Another beautiful weekend and another new hike to explore. Don't worry, we didn't miss our turn. We are doing this loop clockwise to maximize the views. Watch for mushrooms through here because there are often some fun ones. This trail has a start for so many amazing hikes, including some technical mountaineering routes for climbing Mount Baker itself. So part of the fun is the variety of people you can encounter here. The most popular of these hikes is to the Butte Fire Lookout. That hike is one of my favorites and is worth the hype, but today we're opting for a quieter option and exploring the Scott Paul Loop. I got to stay the night in the Butte Lookout a couple of years ago. Check out the link in the description for my blog article on that experience and other hiking resources. This area is very popular and is even busier this year since so much of the North Cascades is closed due to wildfires. To do the loop, we followed the main trail for the first 2 miles before the split for the Scott Paul Trail. This area is very lush, but there were not a ton of water sources. A lot of the streams we saw were just a trickle now, or very silty, but there was water in some form at least every 2 miles. That sandy-looking ridge up above us, running up to the glacier, is railroad grade, one of the main approaches for summiting Mount Baker. It makes a phenomenal day hike too, but it might not be recommended if you have a fear of heights. It is pretty tame, but the ridge is quite narrow in some areas. At the end of the trail, some optional scrambling will bring you right up to the edge of the glacier. There's some nice campsites up there too, but be aware that cat holes are not allowed, so you'll need to pack out all waste. This bridge was great fun. I think it was the wiggliest bridge I've ever been on, and I was tempted to do it again. This is late in the season, and that water was still moving, so imagine trying to cross in July without a bridge like this. Scott Paul was a ranger and trail builder in the Pacific Northwest. He was a visionary behind this trail and several others, but his life came to a tragic end while working on a suspension bridge for a trail in Oregon. After his death, the bridge that claimed his life was completed, and this trail was named in his honor. See the links below for more of his story. We've been doing a little trail building too, volunteering with groups like the Washington Trail Association. It's been eye-opening to see just how much goes into these trails. Simple-looking things like the elevated sections and the stairs we cross on this trail need to survive thousands of boots and the forces of nature for decades. So each of their supports is held in by a couple feet of steel rod pounded into the ground. It is hard work, but they do a really great job at taking people from all walks of life and empowering them to work together and build something for the community. If you're looking for a taste of railroad grade, this is it. It feels a lot like this, except a bit more of a drop on one side and more wildflowers on the other, often marmots whistling at you. This short section is the only bit like this on the Scott Paul Trail. All of this is ancestral native land, and just like Mount Tahoma, which we know as Mount Rainier, Mount Baker was also renamed. Colma is the assumed native name, but there's some debate over whether that is accurate or if the real name has been lost. I read very little about this trail, other than that clockwise is the way to go, which we 100% agree. I just love that feeling when you're on a trail and you never know what to expect around the next corner. This trail was great at that. Every time we thought the views were going away, something new would pop up a few turns later. We were totally delighted towards the end to get a surprise view of Mount Shuksan at the junction with the Climbers Trail, just before the views faded for good. This was the hardest water crossing of today. Not too bad, but watch out because a few of those rocks were more mobile than they appeared. We were a bit surprised how little wildlife there was on this trail, especially the prolific flowers, juicy berries, water sources, and relatively few people. Maybe the rambunctious water deterred them too? We really didn't see anything other than a few birds and squirrels. This is beautiful Mount Shuksan. That may look like the perfect campsite, but please be a good trail citizen and help protect the delicate plants by staying off them. Plants have a very short growing season here and take a long time to recover. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. There are hiking resources below and information on free ways to help support this channel. The easiest is liking and subscribing. Thank you. Happy exploring.